the husband was the first to do it and the wife found out and slept with some of her students as revenge. Also, the resource officer was sleeping with some of the 18-year-old seniors. All got confirmed when they were fired for it. Well, the teachers got fired. The officer got moved to bicycle patrol. That there was a girl in the boys' bathroom giving BJs for $10. There really was, and she got expelled. Strange women lying in restrooms distributing BJs is no basis of a government. The principal made a porn tape with a student when he was still just a teacher and had it hidden on school property. It all came out when the vice principal tried to use it as leverage to steal his job. The principal was forced to resign. The student in the video was 18. But the vice and the rest of the administration were fired for covering it up. We had a Spanish teacher who would keep giving random financial business advice during classes. One day he tabbed over to his stock trading homepage and accidentally revealed that he was a millionaire. Rumors about his past started circulating. Around graduation, some students found old newspaper articles confirming that he was a former meth dealer who had spent time in jail. Was a seriously cool guy. Actually. We had a running joke around my school for years. If someone asked, "Could you insert question here?" most people would reply, "I'll do it for a bag of Doritos." This was a school-wide inside joke because a girl was caught sucking this guy's big dig in the bathroom. Some authority figure had the bright idea of asking why the horny teen would allow this. She said she would do it for $3 and a bag of Doritos. No one ever saw the girl again, but the guy became a legend. My 6th grade math teacher was super creepy. He would assign seats randomly but always placed the girls in the front of the classroom. Did the whole lingering stare thing. And was always trying to get people to hang out with him during lunch. I never did. But he was married and has a baby, so no one really suspected him of anything other than being creepy. Fast forward about 7 years. The teacher ended up being a sex offender. He had an ongoing relationship with a girl that began when she was 13. Based on what I could see from the various news articles, she was either in my year or the year before me. The police came to arrest him in the middle of his class, cuffed him in front of his students, and then had him walk throughout campus in cuffs to get to their car. I don't feel bad for him at all. But I can't imagine how his wife and son must feel. Edit, for everyone asking. This was in the Bay Area, California. The science teacher was a pedophile. Some kid found Viagra in his desk and he was put in admin leave when they found a used condom in his trash after the search. Then kids came forward. Was not pretty. A girl got caught giving her boyfriend a BJ in one of the stairwells of my high school. The government teacher, one of the most ultra-religious and pure-hearted individuals on earth, was the one who caught them. Ended up in a science class with the girl. She gave no ducks that she got caught. And took her legend status like a champ. Still makes me laugh over a decade later. Some kid in my year grade found nude pictures of his art teacher, female, on a school camera when he went to take pictures of his painting. Didn't have a clue what to do about it, so just started telling people and no one believed him. Couple days later he's pulled out of class and had to see the school headmaster about it. They found the camera and the photos and somehow the teacher was unaware whatsoever. Thing is, the teacher didn't get any reprimands, but the kid got excluded a couple of days for spreading true rumors about the teacher. Also, some kid said he was going to kill himself a bunch of times over getting worse grades than his little brother, and finally one day, he jumped in front of a train on the tracks right behind the school. I heard some details of what kids saw and it was about as horrifying as you'd think. Some kids made semen frosted brownies and gave them to another kid and he ate them. Holy ducking sheet. The rumor was that a boys gym teacher and a senior girl in my class were involved. They got married when we graduated. He was at least 10 years older than she was. Still together? For over 40 years now. That the school district security guard would let you get away with anything if you gave him some coke. He later got caught and fired for it. If anyone else went there, it was at Desert View HS in Tucson. Edit, I was talking about cocaine. Not the soda for those who didn't realize that. And on a serious note, it's all about the DRP and duck the rest. Resource officer was a child molester and then murdered his wife after he was fired. He fled and they still haven't found him over 10 years later. He's on Marshall's top 15 most wanted list. His name was Dan Hears and his mother thinks he's dead. The computer tech teacher got caught having sex with a student. He was put on suspension while the investigation was conducted. He killed himself by running his car into a tree. Rumor had it that a teacher was having sex with some of his students that wanted higher grades. No one believed it to be true because he was married and just had his third baby. 100% true and all the students were proud of it. He's still in jail 5 years later. Students were proud of it. I ducked a teacher for my B+. One kid who was in my history class jacked off in a giant communal pump bottle of ranch dressing the upperclassmen all used. Was heard bragging about it in class but nobody believed him until it got back to the teacher and they tested the dressing and lo and behold, jizz was present. Lots of scarred teenagers and lots of amused ones. There was a rumor that our female English teacher was sleeping with the starting QB. And that her youngest child was not her husband's, but the QB's. She was caught sleeping with a different one of her students years later. And it is now known she has slept with a number of former students including the QB. Now people really think her youngest kid isn't her husband's. Edit, QB equals quarterback. Sorry to my non-Americans on the thread. This is by far the most attention that a post of mine has received. And I love that it turned into a Blue Mountain State thread. Go Goats. Teacher from my high school. Girls were creeped out by him and constantly reported him for making them uncomfortable. He was quite obese, barely hung to knees, so the school and other students wrongly assumed these girls were being rude. 6 years later he's in prison after being caught with child porn on his computer. Alongside upskirt photos of girls from my school. An abortion using a coat hanger where a student bled to death. It happened years before I attended the school. And was the basis of the ghost sightings near the bathroom. Man, this is disturbing as hell. In middle school, a rumor floated around pretty much most of the school that the principal had a consistent record of sexual assault. And while I ducking no. He got arrested for sexual assault when I was a freshman in high school. It was all over the news and everything. There was a girl who wanted to lose her virginity, so she offered a guy a phone top up to take her virginity and he did it. Damn, where's this kinda girl when I was in school? She's there, she's probably just the kinda girl who you wouldn't want to duck. 2 sports teachers were having an affair with each other. Even though one of their spouses was also a sports teacher in the same school using the same dinky office. Rumor was confirmed when the 2 dudes had a fist fight in the basketball court. That a girl hid her pregnancy then held the baby. Edit to add a link. chicagotribune.com. Not well enough apparently. Our math teacher in high school had a student teacher she was helping train to take over for her when she went on maternity leave. The student teacher was maybe 20-21. And a fairly attractive young woman. So naturally all the guys in the class had a crush on her. One guy in particular was a super senior and 18-19. He flirted with her non-stop and she would act super embarrassed and blush and in a non-committal way tell him to knock it off. I'm sure you see where this is going. Well, towards the end of the semester he was bragging about going on a date with her and how they went to the movies, then he went back to her place and they had sex. We all thought he was full of shit. But the rumor got around the school and of course the teachers and faculty found out. Then one day she is just gone. And we had substitute teachers for the rest of the semester. We all knew what happened. Looking back, it's kind of a shame that she probably wrecked her future teaching career of him. We had 2 girls in our class that played a game to seduce a teacher. They did the usual staying after class to get him alone. Wore inappropriate clothes that showed too much skin. Touched him a lot. Sat in his lap. Laughed obnoxiously at any joke he made. Etc. Girl A told Girl B she was tired of playing the game after about a month, so she wanted to stop and they seemingly did. But Girl A was actually sleeping with the guy since like the 2nd week. Girl A told Girl B about the situation, and not knowing what to do, Girl B told her mom. When the time came around for the teacher to be confronted, Girl A hid herself so that the teacher wouldn't be charged. The mother felt so bad she didn't tell the school what was going on the minute she found out. So she felt responsible for the girl's death. The teacher was removed directly after the full story came out. He ended up running off, so he was never formally charged. That's some ducked up shit. The married teacher and married principal got caught ducking in a park, and the elementary school teacher was really a pedophile, and another teacher in the middle school. Duck. This is a ducked up town. The physics teacher was sexting and sleeping with one of his students, not sure if she was 18 or not at the time. Although honestly, no one was surprised. He was a little too friendly toward the girls and changed his pants in the back of the classroom once. He ended up leaving for personal reasons over Thanksgiving break. But of course it got out. Sadly, his wife was in her 3rd trimester, which probably didn't make it any easier for her to find out her husband was sleeping with a high school student. A girl let some players of the lacrosse team duck her with a lacrosse stick, pole stick I'm Heil Mayo. That within the first 2 weeks of the school starting and everyone meeting each other, one of the girls had a threesome with 2 guys who didn't really get along. So she convinced them to make love, not war. I was an outcast at my high school and was shunned by the majority of the school. Because of this, my circle of friends included the outcasts from my school and the outcasts from several other schools in my city. Myself and my friend Sarah from my school were good friends with a very gay guy from another school named Raphael. We were also friends with this very punk girl from the same school as Raphael named Stephanie. Stephanie was really hot and always dressed in a very outwardly sexual way. Fishnets, schoolgirl uniform, thigh-high boots, etc. The jocks at our school thought we, Sarah and I, were freaks and shunned us until they saw us hanging out with Stephanie. Then every one of them wanted to have her phone number, and we were popular. Stephanie made the rounds of pretty much the entire football and baseball teams at my high school and was known as a head queen. Everyone wanted to go on a date with her, and most did. Stephanie and Raphael are the same person. A secretary walking in on the itchy old assistant principal, Mrs. Soper, giving head to the other assistant principal in his office. It was within a few days that the guy hurriedly resigned. So must have been some truth there. She was still there though, but I couldn't look at her straight after that. When I was in middle school, the big joke rumor was that 2 teachers were banging. Years later, everyone finds out that not only were they having an affair outside of their respective marriages, but that the male teacher was cheating on both women with a man. The female teacher moved away and ended her own life. The entire situation was unbelievably messy. We had a study hall teacher who was a huge hardass with a handlebar mustache who was retired Navy. Turned out he was a hardcore gay BDSM porn star in the early 2000s. He got fired even though it was long before his time teaching. I ended up writing a letter to the administration, county, and their attorneys, but he stayed fired. I guess it would be hard to command respect from students when googling his porn name immediately brought up a pic of his gonads bound in leather. Not my school, but the one in the next town over. A couple fingered each other's assholes, did not wash their hands, and made a batch of cookies for the yearbook club. So a bunch of poor teens ate sheet cookies back in 2012 and still have no idea. The music teacher in my high school was rumored to have been fired for sending big dick pics to a female student. There had been subs taking his place for nearly a month. The principal said he was too ill to come into work, and eventually another rumor that he had cancer started spreading around. He had been bald longer than anyone could remember. If you asked any of the school staff what was going on, they would just say he's just sick right now. We don't know when he'll be returning. One day in my physics class, everyone in the class pestered the teacher for the whole period until he finally gave in. Some people were still trying to argue the cancer story. One student asked the physics teacher, did he send nudes to that girl? And he finally said, "That thing that you think happened. It happened." The student said, "So he did?" And the teacher simply nodded his head yes. A month or so later the music teacher showed up in school. Everyone was running up to him in the hallway asking what happened. He dodged every question and the last thing I heard him say was, "I'm just here to get some things." He didn't teach his class that day and I never saw him again. Heard one dude was sucking another dude's big dig in the bathroom between classes. Thought it was a load of bull, since one of them had a girlfriend and everything. One day a friend showed me a video of them actually doing it in the stall. Blew my mind. Turns out the guy getting his big dig sucked wasn't even secretly gay or anything. Just liked getting his big dig sucked by his classmate. But the guy sucking was definitely gay. That one of our teachers was a pedo. It was mainly spurred on by people's instincts about him. I busted him looking through government issued confidential tests of girls at recess once. Vice principal wasn't happy with me telling this teacher off. But I was a great student and well liked by all teachers, so she just gave me detentions, of which after 2 she said that's fine. In a ho. Heaps of people got suspended for calling him a pedo. He leaves our school. 4 years later we hear he has been arrested for trying to groom a 14-year-old girl at another school. Mainly people subsequently asked for their lost suspension time back, haha. That there was a video of a girl in my year fingering herself for a pack of cigarettes. The rumor went around for about a week before everyone in my year had it on their phone. I want to say this was 9-10 years ago. The school ended up having assemblies about it and said that if anyone was caught with it on their phones, they'd press charges for child pornography. We were 14/15 at the time. I think a couple of kids actually did get charged for it, though I think it got sealed once they turned 18. The poor girl in the video ended up changing schools more than once because the kids at the first school she changed to ended up getting hold of the video and it went round that school too.